It's no longer news making the rounds that the forensic audit report from the NDDC evoked by the Honorable Minister for Niger Delta, evoking many things, including the former acting MD of NDDC, who slumped on a hot seat while under interrogations to probings of allegations of financial misappropriations of the agency. Our focus today on this episode of the PATRIOT on television Nigerian is why slumping free. Why is the slumping spree? Or is it just a prank to survive crime allegations? Welcome to the PATRIOT on television Nigerian, a platform where we discuss issues of national importance, answering the question of how much of our country we love. Welcome on board. I am Peggy Shandy.
To Nigeria, my country. So goes the opening lines of the 6-line national pledge of Nigeria. Today, not a few, whether young or old, merely recite the national pledge as a matter of routine or tradition, with their hearts being poles apart from the very spirit, creed, and essence of the pledge. Many simply do not understand its purport or feel the import of it, while many others choose to observe the pledge in breach only. Today we have decided to walk on the footpath of the very words of the national pledge, keeping its vision and essence in our hearts, in our souls, and in our minds.
I pledge
Nigeria,
my country,
to be faithful,
loyal, and honest,
to serve Nigeria with all my strength,
to defend her unity,
and uphold her honor and glory.
So help me God. Nigeria, no doubt, will truly be the giant of Africa, developed and well rated in all indices, if her national pledge is treated with sacred obedience. It's on us, it's our duty and responsibility to make this country a better place. Let's live the pledge.
Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. This is the PATRIOT on television Nigerian, and our guest is Prince Benedict Onyewonyi, an activist, political analyst, a hospitality consultant, and a motivational speaker. He's here to throw more light on this disturbing topic, becoming a practice in Nigeria to escape the wrath of corruption. And the problem, or why people just slump on a slumping spree? Or is it just a prank? Benedict, Prince, welcome to the PATRIOT.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Here in the studios of television Nigerian on the platform, the PATRIOT. I want to find out from you, what are the challenges in this country with regards to each time there is a probe going on? You know, one drama or the other begins to display here and there. And you're an activist, and we know very well that you're also a motivational speaker, a hospitality consultant who can determine whether those slumping or the sickness or the declaration or the drama are really true. What are the causes of those things, and you know, the things that you want to tell us about, the surrounding factors for why they do that? All right, I want to begin first of all to ask you to explain to us what you think the drama that played out while the forensic examination was going on. of the revelations that came out, especially the man who appeared before the Joint Senate Committee. What is your take on that?
Well, Nigerians, I'm glad to speak out on issues bordering on eventually their lives and the situation in this country. First and foremost, I must say that fainting is termed as a cardiologic signpost, okay, that occurs is as a result of at times stress, sleeplessness, over anxiety and curiosity, things that just come unexpectedly, and is prevalent to especially top officers who are engaged in lots of brain works and difficulties of functions and actions, in different categories. So, but coming back home, you see, in the country Nigeria, we have noticed over time that you see, we witness all these things during the period we get officers or leaders, being examined in the courts, in the assemblies or in the security offices. We find them exhibit such actions. All right. So, over time, you see, it has been taken, for as a normal in the country, which as it continues, it turns into comedy, a kind of play and act, in cameras, which ordinarily gets Nigeria as a stock of an entity without, a grade, as regards to professionals and institutions of every other government outside Nigeria. So it has been a ridiculed attitude, that the leadership exhibits, which is which we should stop, if I must put it at that. Yes. So I will say that in the recent past, most of these attitudes portrayed by people who are investigated, it's only rampant on the corrupt cases. And we have not seen people collapse ordinarily while they are in entertainment, or whether they are being given awards, or or they are being given elevated in positions. We've not seen, but we only see this when it comes or happens that somebody is investigated in one crime or the other. And this one just recently, it's the one that comedy have come to the media in different categories. We see even when let me take us to a laughing back. They said that the child was asked, Junior, who took the meat in the pot, and then the next thing is slump, and and so many other places such attitudes has been portrayed, and it's been taken for granted. And I think it is time we have to take a different position at that.
Now the question is, Prince, thank you very much. The question is, we have not seen the slumping happening in other places, but there have been slump, on the football pitches, people actually slumped and eventually died. The question is that why are these ones not slumping and dying? We have seen where people actually slump and die. Actually, either on the pitch or stuff. So what's the difference? What Nigerians want to know is they want to find out whether these ones that they're investigating them for financial, so when you steal money and they're investigating, you slump, but you refuse to die, or what?
You see, like I said earlier, it's a neurocardiogenic cycle. Cardiogenic. Yes. Cardiogenic cycle. If you know what cardiovascular this thing, it has to do with everything that has to blood and everything. So, but why those who are like when they are doing exercise and they slump and die, I told you is a kind of a gene or a kind of a reactive. Can I put it this way? It's like an anxiety
or a pressure on the
pressure.
Yes.
A kind of unexpected force and reality of a particular thing, physical at that moment. So it cuts both breath and blood streams. So when somebody is on an excessive exercise or on a very high drug intake addiction, and then maybe something happens, within that period, it pumps up the blood stream, pumps up, and that time the cardiovascular system shuts down. So somebody can just easily get down, and that is the end. So, but you see, you cannot put these two things together. You see, the ones we see when they are investigated are simple ones. We see them because as a result of restlessness. Some of these people who are investigated, they take like weeks, going through finding out what and mistakes and they have done and all this, and then they have sleepless nights, and then they study, they make sure that they want to come up with a proof that they are not held culpable of anything that they've been questioned.
Or don't you think that they are becoming too worried that these allegations otherwise has to be proven, that it's going to the public space and people are going to watch them? So the glory and the glamour surrounding them as very senior officers manning affairs of certain agencies here will go public. So the anxiety of, I actually stole this money, so what am I going to do? And the worry that they're going to be seen in negative perspective. Don't you think what Nigerians want to know, you have to provide very exact answers to this? Or could it also be that they did not touch these monies and they're just, giving them allegations? They're just leveling allegations on them or labeling them as bad people and they're trying to struggle themselves out? Or is it that people just want to paint them black? Those who are stealing the money is actually different?
You see, there are two things here. First and foremost is that the people involved that are being questioned, not that they are not aware of, everything that must come to them. Most of these faintings are, they are preempted. Most of these faintings were arranged. Like I said earlier, the faintings, like I said earlier, is different from the faintings that we witnessed in Nigeria. You see, like the fainting we just got recently is as a result of not to stop the continuation of the allegations and questions thrown. And anxiety, like I said, anxiety, when you have this anxiety of what you are not expecting to come and it hits you, at times it draws your brains out. But I will not say categorically clear that all the faintings that we have been having, all this while in this country, when a certain officer or a leader is called for a particular questioning and you get that, even in the court, and you see that person exhibiting that act. I am not saying that those people, have any ailment or them, because even prior before then, you will not find such people, sick or, we're told where any hospital, cases, reports that they are this or they were suffering from this. So, and they have no trait from life, that, from their lineage, this kind of thing happens or occurs. So these things will happen here. Like I said, first of all, what we have witnessed in recent times are measures to stop further probe or to make every investigation stop. These are things that they do just to put Nigerians out of.
All right, okay. Thank you very much, Prince. Thank you very much, Prince. Yes, these are the things they do to put Nigerians out of what?
Yes, put Nigerians out of getting to know exactly things that have happened.
But if they already, all right, okay, if they already know that it's a plan, for instance, just like you have said here, if they have already known that it is a plan, they are planning so they can actually act the fainting, so they can faint.
Yeah.
Then why would there be anxiety again? There is no need for anxiety because you already know how the end of the probe is going to be. The moment you just evoke that you are fainting, and your eyes are rolling. Did you watch the?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we're going to take a very short break. After this. Yeah. But why will there be anxiety, having known that maybe there is an end to the whole investigation by acting the slumping?
The anxiety comes in different parts. Anxiety might be of good, anxiety might be of bad. You see, like the bad that they have just exhibited, that they've shown, it's just for Nigerians to, put them off camera so that they will regain back their freedom. This thing is like you are taking somebody's freedom to a point, to a pool, where it's either he's being shot or the person is being malign or even cost, at a cost of a particular investigation. Let me put it this way: the fainting and the effect of that fainting is to stop probe. Stop. So that's stopping.
So did they stop it?
So that's stopping. They stop at the moment it is stopped. The person goes back. No matter how the situation finds the person after that moment, the stop alone has enabled the person to regain consciousness because of the pressure of the questions and even the remembering of every other thing executed, done in the office. It comes very open to them at that moment. And then as the moment it keeps pushing to them, then their brains, that's why I tell you, this has to do with senses. So it keeps hitting on them, it keeps hitting on them, even if it is pre-planned, even if they never even wants to act it, but because of the pressure they hit, and then the mindset of knowing that Nigerians are watching, the whole thing can ordinarily give somebody a kind of strike, to go down. It's either by the act that was exhibited that we saw, or it's either by being dumbfounded, or it's either by being the brain being weak or something like that. It comes in different signs, but this one has been prevalent.
They say that sometimes people, when they faint, they even pass urine right there.
Some do, and some we know, they are prepared for it. They take certain concoctions which ordinarily can be said on the air, for them, for the timing, and the timing brings them to at the period where that thing is a must that it will get them. So because these things come.
Okay, you're saying that there are certain drugs.
There are certain things people take. You understand?
And then there is timing.
And there is timing.
When the
effect of the drug will come hard on them.
And so, how does the effect of the drug coming hard on them?
Yeah.
How does it? That's an example of those things.
Because gradually, what it does is to weigh somebody down, psychologically,
make you look
confused, and then acting with the brain, and then the bloodstream, and every system you have will collapse. You see, and it collapses. It's just, but it's a temporary thing.
There are some drugs like that.
Yeah, there are, and for the interest of those who are more professional, in that field, I cannot.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So we're going to take a very short break because we have a clip on these issues. Don't forget, the Honorable Minister of Niger Delta actually called for this forensic probe. And you know, there has been a lot of allegations and counter-allegations and defense and counter-defense between the Honorable Minister and the former MD of the NDDC, and including the current acting one that has just been moved out, you know. So we want to watch a beautiful clip here that is going to explain both of those, so we can come back to you, please. All right. We will take a very short break, and when we return, Prince Benedict will tell us more. Please don't go away.
I, Senator Godswill Akpabio, do solemnly swear.
We are not going to waste much time here. What we need, you came with some documents, you lay the document before us, then speak in maybe about 10 to 15 minutes on the document, then members will have 1 or 2 questions, then we'll be good.
I'm a former minority leader of the Nigerian Senate, and I believe in justice. Since this proceeding started, I have seen where 30 to 40 minutes, sometimes 1 hour, 30 minutes, have been given to some people to pour invectives on my person as the minister. I have children. There's no way I can come before you, and I'm teleguided to speak for 10 or 15 minutes. As we conduct these proceedings today, some students of Niger Delta are in London protesting right now against the unpaid scholarships. Number 1, there is an ongoing forensic audit. Number 2, the minister did not hijack the forensic audit. It is ongoing and it is going in line with due process. Number 3, the process of making money in NDDC comes from 2 sources. One from the federal government of Nigeria through statutory allocations, and the other one from internally generated revenue that comes from the oil companies through the 3% that is allowed in the law. Number 4, no staff of NDDC, to my knowledge, was sacked, because part of what you are to unravel is you said on other issues. So no staff of NDDC was sacked, to my knowledge. And even the COVID allowance that was mentioned here, so the staff that are on leave also receive the COVID allowances, and they are getting their monthly salaries. Number 5, files from NDDC are not missing. They have been handed over to the forensic auditors. In fact, the first set of files to be handed over were about 8,000 files in number. Number 6, the Honourable Minister, outside the oath of allegiance to the Federal Republic, has never asked anybody to swear to an oath. Number 7, the last IMC management of the Commission did not spend 8 billion. The total expenditure before the Ponde Committee that they spent was about 23 billion, which is before you, because I'm sure you have the figures from the Central Bank of Nigeria. Number 7, the question of official car for any management of the NDDC does not arise, because they were renting vehicles at the rate of 200,000 a day, and that is part of what we want to change. And recently, Mr. President, in Council, approved that about 90 vehicles should be purchased, and for the first time in 19 years, NDDC is now going to have its own vehicles as part of the changes. The Federal Executive Council approved it recently. There was no time at all, Mr. Chairman, that we had a budget when I came in. There was no budget. And as a senator of the Federal Republic and a former minority leader, I know what that means. That means that we cannot spend money unless there is a budget. So the 2019 budget of the NDDC was not available. And we were late because the law, the NDDC Act, enjoins us to submit the next year's budget every 30th of September, at least before the 30th of September. And in the past, those things were not done. So there was no way the minister could have asked any MD or any staff to go and bring 10 billion naira to share in December. That allegation is false and is from the pit of hell. The first thing that came out in the press, Mr. Chairman, was that 40 billion naira was missing. I took time to explain that 40 billion naira cannot miss from the account of the NDDC, because the account of the NDDC now, under President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, is domiciled in the Central Bank of Nigeria. But before this administration, this APC administration came to clean the system, NDDC had over 311 accounts. There are over 500 accounts. So in 300 accounts in various banks, there were possibilities of some money missing. And so that could have happened at that time. But today, we operate the TSA account. The CBN has the account details and they are available to you with the Office of the Accountant General. So I want to state emphatically that no 40 billion is missing.
In under 6 months, everywhere is shaking earthquake.
Well,
you know why?
That's a question I'd like to ask you.
That is the answer I want to give to you. The answer is forensic audit. This is the first president since year 2000 that has ordered for a forensic audit of the NDDC to know what has gone wrong with the agency. Because you cannot have so much trillions going in there and nothing is seen on the ground.
I, Kola Wole Johnson, we discovered that between June 1st, the budget of the NDDC expired May 31st. So between June 1st and July 17th, I'm here to tell this committee that the documents available to us show that NDDC has spent a total of 19.6 billion naira. On the 9th of July, 631 million was paid to one company for the silting, 667 million to another company. Same day, 649 million was paid. Same day, 733 million was paid. Then a day before, one of those companies that were mentioned here, Osmond South Global, was paid 697 million to 11,320 naira for another desilting job. The silting of a section of Idama waterways.
Even the course of your investigation, which has really helped us in fact-finding, because that's what this is all about. And you have been able to identify few companies around Nigeria. You have even been able to unveil some of the corporate veil to establish those who are behind the corporate veil. Have you, in the course of your investigation, as a private individual or a private civil society organization, have you discovered that 60% of the projects done in NDDC are done by National Assembly?
Sir, I wish I had information on that. Perfectly, I would have said it here because it would justify our agitation. We have been accused as though we're fighting NDDC. We are not fighting NDDC. If I have information on the National Assembly, sincerely, if I can't say it here, I will release it in the public space.
I will need to lay a background to speak to these documents. First of all, the statistics from the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Accountant General's office stated clearly that from the 31st of October 2019 to the 31st of May 2020, that the sum of 81.5 billion naira was spent by the two IMCs. But what we're seeing in this committee is that like that 81.5 billion was spent in 4 months by the second IMC. Those are the things I was trying to lay down. That for record purposes, the Central Bank and the Accountant General's office cannot change the figures in 1 week, because that they stated under oath in the Senate ad hoc committee hearing that 81.5 billion was spent from October 2019 to 31st of May 2020.
What you are operating is the 2019 budget, which, as you know and as we know, ended May 31st, 2020. We are now in July. So you are not expected to be spending money from budget 2019 that has expired. From where are you going to spend this money you said here on oath that you are preparing to pay students who are on scholarship? Are you aware that every expenditure you make from 31st May till date are not excuse me, what is not coming final?
issues raised yesterday against me was that I awarded a contract to myself without them knowing about it. I'm sure that's what they told you people yesterday. Yes. Apparently, Dr. Cairo never sits in the office, so he doesn't know the workings and the bureaucracy of payments in the office. One, I am just a viewer of the platform that makes payment, that make payments in NDDC. There are different steps to take before payments are made. One, that Lassa fever issue, obviously they didn't carry him along. Nobody makes any payment in NDDC without Godswill Akpabio's approval. When we first came to NDDC, on the day of going for the inauguration, he told me in the car that, Madam MD, if you don't do what I say, the same pen with which I used to sign your letter, it will be the same pen that I will use to remove you. He said the first thing I should do when I get to Port Harcourt is to change the dollars in the NDDC account. I was scared to do that. He claims that I have poverty mentality, that I am afraid of money. All of you knew they accused me that I refuse to spend money. It is strange that today it's now about money. After that, he came to Port Harcourt 2 days after the inauguration. He said the first thing I should do is to make sure I change the dollars. I should remove Mr. Kaltungo from being legal and send him on compulsory retirement, that we cannot have a northerner be the head of the legal team, of the legal unit. I said I can't do that. I do not have the powers as just an IMC to act as a board. It is a criminal offense and it's against the public service rules for me to do that. He said I should remove all the other directors that refused to take his instruction during the time of Mrs. Agwagaga. That was the predecessor before I came. So he came also with a draft, which I've submitted, with a draft letter that I should write and put it on my letterhead, implicating Senator Mobushi for collecting contracts in NDDC.
Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. That was the drama that happened at the National Assembly on the Combined Committee on the investigation of the NDDC probe. The forensic auditing has brought about all the details. We watched the program. Please, Prince, you have watched the clip.
Yes.
What exactly will you have to say with regards to the drama, the allegations, counter-allegations, and the fainting of the MD of the acting MD of the NDDC? In specific terms, what is responsible for these things, that is going on there? And if there are specifications, in pointing out, what is responsible for why, the drama is playing out, and who is getting scared and fainting, while others are not fainting, and other related crimes, allegations surrounding this type of thing.
The fact is that you see, the NDDC board completely have disappointed Nigerians. You see, NDDC was to take care of the states that, were marked as, states that are supposed to be benefiting from the Niger Delta. And with what we've understood all this while, there is nothing actually that has been done. We can say, going back, yes, there are certain activities that they have embarked on, yet uncompleted, and we hear billions of money, squandered. I don't see reality in what the former senator, the former governor, is trying to portray to us by all the numbers of accusations he has, enumerated and then defended. We will find, all these things as he is saying, until investigations are carried out and we'll find out the exact truth about the misappropriations of these funds. He is the head of that parastatal, and I believe as day goes by, they will uncover the truth about all this. So the fainting, is as a result of so many anomalies, so many things, hidden that are uncovered, which will be opened,
and the fear,
and the fear, because if there is nothing, there is no way, a thing cannot. There is no way an investigation will come on if there is no iota of truth. And as regards to the collaboration of the National Assembly in the works of NDDC, that you can't throw that away. You can hide it from them, because you see most of the jobs and contracts we find out these days, they don't go through due processes anymore, and we find out that the National Assembly will be held responsible if it has to do. If anything has to do with contracts awarded and to companies that awarded those contracts because you see the people in the National Assembly actually have failed Nigerians. We sent them there to represent us, and at the end of the day, what we find is this, that they are corporates and collaborators of people with the people who come to steal and milk Nigeria.
Yes.
So we need to find out now those people who are involved and those who never executed the contract.
Okay. So why is the National Assembly, is that a place where the contracts are supposed to be given? This is another question. But the Honorable Speaker, House of Assembly, House of Representatives actually gave a 48 hours ultimatum for the Honorable Minister to respond to those allegations. And then he read the letter in the chambers that he was not actually pointing fingers. And a few days later, the Honorable Minister Akpabio published the names of those the forensic auditing revealed.
I must tell you, when the Speaker was saying what he was saying, he was trying to, cut the investigation that entered into the Ninth Senate. You see, when you say Ninth Senate, he's trying to say that people who have cropped into the Ninth Senate, the Ninth Senate will be exonerated from allegations of the former NDDC job, which is not true. Every senator or House of Assembly member who has been in existence since earlier from 2014 till this date, you understand, should be looked at. They should call their names, all the contracts being awarded to them, or wherever they have collaborated.
Okay, are you saying that most of the senators or House of Reps members crossed from probably seventh or rather fifth,
from 7th assembly to 8th assembly, 8th assembly to 9th assembly? Yes, they would have been engaged and
except
involved.
the new timers who are there.
Except the new timers who are in the 9th assembly.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because they would have been involved and engaged in contracts that has to do with Niger Delta Development Commission, because these are the places they represent. Most of them even are from there, and those of them who are not from there, who are engaged in the fraudulent act of even misappropriating these funds, these legislators, all of them, they should be held accountable. This is a time, let Nigerians know, this is a time we should, start calling on our representatives to stand and defend their people who are elected them, and then to stand in the presence of Nigerians and say, this is I and this is Z, so that we'll be able to believe in the actions and why we send them there.
Are you aware, thank you very much, Prince, are you aware that the Honorable Speaker also mentioned, publicly that the fainting MD, the acting MD who just collapsed there and still woke up, that MD should not appear before any probe or any panel anymore. Did you hear that?
If he's saying that, he's saying that on his own interest. Nigerians are interested to know what transpired in NDDC, and he cannot stop that. If he stops that, then Nigerians will take the bull by the horn, because the issue is this: we want to find out these billions monies that has been spent without, you know,
how much are we talking about? How much
we are looking at 81.5 billion, and that it's not accounted for.
Yeah,
not accounted for. In recent times, we heard of the palliatives. We talk in NDDC that is
among themselves.
Amongst, I don't know how this money.
I
don't know how many these monies were spent and how they managed it. Entertainment, we heard of how many hundreds of millions. About we talked of entertainment. We talked about we heard of how many about 61.6 million. We heard of another 28 point, you know, on the same entertainment. We heard of condolences. Condolences in NDDC. That means they're encouraging deaths in this country. And the amount you're talking about here is 122 point something million. You know, for condolences, you're paying money to condole people in Nigeria. And yet Nigerians are dying. Means you're encouraging.
All right, okay, fine. We must all die. It doesn't matter whether the condolences 100 or something. Is that what the budget of the NDDC, you know, or the mandate of the NDDC was meant for? I mean, let us understand that over 300 accounts were opened just for NDDC.
Just NDDC.
Did you hear what the Honorable Minister said?
Yes, of course.
And then now under Buhari's administration, will you have to say that under single treasury single account, under one account, the effort to fight corruption to maintain is there? Will you appreciate that it is a good step towards the right direction?
I want to say that honestly, we Nigerians are disappointed because we cannot have single treasury accounts, and NDDC is having over 300 accounts.
Is it before the administration?
Even if it is before or even present, because I know that because I believe it is still running.
No. They have all been cancelled and just discovered through the forensic check.
Okay.
Under this administration, one account.
They are discovered because there is an investigation ongoing on NDDC project.
And it's not finished yet.
It's not yet. And I believe those accounts were still running while, you know, our president was still, you know, in active service as he's sitting. So, and that is the same thing that will happen in other ministries.
Will we say that it's a step toward the right direction, that the forensic checking and auditing is happening right now, so that the noise all about, you heard Minister when he spoke there.
Yes.
Will you say that it's a step towards the right direction?
Yes, it is a step towards the right direction.
Or are you saying that they should do more?
They even need to do more.
All right,
just to uncover.
Uncover
this knowledge.
That's all right. Okay, so we are concerned about the drama and everything that is going on, and then why, you know, remember that Sariki claimed that he was sick and so he didn't appear before the court. You remember that Dino Malay also had his own drama. He said that he was already dead before they came to arrest him and stuff like that.
And many others. And why the silence is there is the reason why it's reoccurring. And it must stop. We can't see, like I tell you, I'm a practical person. Right. I don't discuss back. I talk about the immediate thing that is happening. Let me tell you, our president
came into the. We have just 5 minutes around.
Yes, Mr. President came into the office. You know. And we believed that Mr. Integrity that we know, you understand, has to check all these anomalies inside of corruption. But we have come to find out so many things happening under his nose are unchecked. I want to bring you back to, you know, from where this, you know, things started, and as if, you know, they were brought down without unchecked, without even public notice of how those investigations are being carried on. We remembered the time of Magu, when we said Magu, EFCC, so many billions, you know, millions, you know, running up here and there, and his investments in Dubai and other places. And now we are noticing everything is quiet. He has challenged that, let people prove. And these are the challenges. You know, people should come out to prove that he is innocent or he is not innocent. You can't have somebody who is in charge of corruption, the Economic Financial Crime Commission, and accused of doing the same thing. And we say that he misappropriated funds. The single treasury account money that was said to have come to the account of EFCC above 500 is missing, and we are quiet. If Magu is innocent, let us prove him, you know, otherwise, because I believe that before an iota of truth,
he has been removed.
There's an iota of
as
truth.
EFCC chairman.
There's an iota of truth in the allegation that surrounds EFCC, the chairman, and every other management team in that sector. The same thing goes to the humanitarian affair, where Mrs. Sadia Umar said she spent 600 billion, on school feeding. You understand? Nobody's investigating that. And no Nigerian is talking about this. These are the things we need to talk. Say, and publicly make open to people to hear. And Mr. President needs to wake up to get all these acquisitions in his office out, so that we'll be able to beat our chest and say, yes, Mr. President.
So who is
250 billion naira went into what they call it, palliatives, and yet no Nigerian will beat his chest to say that he's been credited in his bank account, maybe or 5,000 or even 60,000 or whatever that they call it.
So who is going to investigate this? Humanitarian, all those monies you're talking now.
But the National Assembly is there.
Assembly,
and if they swore to protect Nigerians,
what about the EFCC? Now there's no head at the EFCC.
No,
so who is going to? Now the EFCC is seeming to be compromised by the head, according to what is going on, until the allegations are proven otherwise.
Yes.
So who is going to probe who, and who is going to investigate who?
I think the National Assembly now, if they really actually want to make Nigeria stand and let every shame of these corrupt practices and individuals, is stained, let them now rise up to their responsibility, because Nigerians
and appoint a new EFCC chairman.
No. The appointment of new EFCC chairman is the right of Mr. President, and it will be vetted. It will be screened.
Yeah, the question
by the National Assembly.
Yeah, the question is enforcement.
Yes.
National Assembly do not have the enforcement.
Yes.
They only do oversight function.
Yes.
All right. So what happens to the mandate of the EFCC is to enforce, to arrest criminals of this nature if they're found guilty. So now there is no head at the EFCC. Now you are allocating the responsibility of the EFCC to the National Assembly only?
No, we are saying that let National Assembly come up. They have the corrupt. They have their committees.
Yeah.
They should set up that committee
to probe
to look into those issues of corruption that has happened in the humanitarian affairs, in the EFCC. They should come up with a plain template for us, and then let Mr. President.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Now set up its own committee or forensic audit committee. Okay, to look into all these issues. After which he now enforces arrests them, and then try them, so that Nigerians will be at peace. Because with what is going on, if it continues.
So your final words now internationally. So your final words, we should stop fainting.
The word is this: anyone that faints will give that person 21 days under the cooler, and make sure that person gets gives us every information that we need. And then after which we now prove that person. If that person is guilty, we do the needful.
Thank you. So should we continue to faint, or we should stop fainting? That is the question now.
I think if they continue to faint, Nigerians will come to the street, because we don't understand. Our monies are wasted. Nigerians are.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, that's enough we have for you now. Yes. But we're going to bring you again to continue the other part of this. Very important. Yes. Prince Benedict Onyewenyi is a very patriotic Nigerian. This is evident on the choice of attire he coincidentally chose to put on a black regalia with me on the Patriot on television Nigerian. As a patriotic Nigerian, he is mourning the deaths of the Southern Kaduna State victims. He is also popularly called the one-hand general. As you can see, he has just one hand. As a result of a ghastly motor accident, he was the only survivor. Well, this is all we have for you on this episode of Patriot. You can sponsor programs on the Patriot on television Nigerian and follow us on our platforms. Please call the numbers scrolling on the screen. Until next time, be patriotic. I am Peggy Shannon. Many thanks for watching.